Hello agents, and welcome back to another Division build video. Today we're going to go over an assault rifle build. It's a little bit different than the usual stuff. I've decided to go with a spotter chest piece for survivability with this one, and we've also added in a shield for even more survivability, but we're still going to put out a whole bunch of damage. Rather, I am going to go through the build. It's a lot like most of the other builds that are around at the moment. There's not a lot of variation, but I'm going to show you a few options, and we're also going to go through a few different assault rifles that you can use, and I'll give you my opinions on which I think are the best ones, and you can also comment down below and let me think what you think are the best ones as well. So first of all, while we're here, we're going to look at the specialization. And for this one, we are going to go with the technician specialization. The reason we're going to go with this is we're going to use the shield. And this is going to give us an extra skill tier, which is going to buff the shield and give us some good survivability. It's also going to give us the linked laser pointer, which means we don't have to run spotter. And we will get the full damage from that all the time. And then just make sure that you have spec'd into assault rifle as well. If you wanted to run a secondary rifle with this build, you certainly can do as well. So I would spec into these two because rifles are OP right now. But I've essentially made this build just for a bit of a change, get away from the meta and give you something else that you can actually use and actually still be effective with. So that's what you want to do for your specialization tree. I'm sure everybody's probably got these maxed out by now, but if like you've got an alternative characters like me and you've not got them completely spec'd out, if you look at my Warhound farming video that I have on my channel, I will put the link in the description. You can get 3 specialization points pretty much every minute near enough from doing the Warhound. You'll get some gear and you'll also get an SHD level every time you do that as well. It's super good. It's going to go, so do make sure you get these maxed out quickly while you can. So going back to the build, we'll have a look. So you run whichever grenade you want, run whichever sidearm you want. These are completely up to you. But then weapons wise, we'll go through them in a minute when we get to the shooting range. What I'm going to show you here is 3-piece Providence. Which for headshot, critical hit chance and critical hit damage for the brand set bonuses, really nice. Get as best pieces as you can. On the backpack, you definitely want to go for vigilance. It's a huge increase in damage, increased total weapon damage by 25%. Taking damage disables this buff, but if you didn't know, if you've got your shield out and your shield is getting hit, you don't lose that buff until your shield gets destroyed and then you get hit. So for most of the time, and it's just by far the best in slot talent for backpacks. For anything LMG rifle or assault rifle, anything that's not skill based, this is a really great talent to have. So basically what you want to go for is maximum crit chance, and then you want to go for crit damage after that. And if you can't do that, then go for headshot damage after that. So as you can see on my mask, I've got crit chance, crit damage, and then a crit damage mod. Just to go over the backpack, just to make sure, crit chance, crit damage, and a crit damage mod. And then the chest piece, obviously we're going to need spotter in here, so it amplifies total weapon damage and skill damage by 15% to pulsed enemies. So if you remember before, what I mentioned was you get this attachment and you make sure that is on your gun. That's definitely needed because we're not going to run pulse, but this attachment will pulse all the enemies that we target. So this way then we've got extra survivability with the revive hive and we can use our shield. Just a quick side note, amplified in this game does mean multiplicative damage. It is the best kind of damage in the game. So just a few things to note. So when you see the yellow stats on the named pieces, they're also multiplicative damage as well, and that's why these 2 pieces are best in slot, and that's why you'll see them in almost every build that is maximizing damage output. So if it's all reds, these 2 pieces are definitely going to be there because they essentially just give you the most damage to anything that you're firing at. So Petrov, first of all, Petrov gloves. These are the contractors ones, the named variant. I've got maximum weapon damage, maximum attributes for damage to armor and critical hit damage. And then we've got the Foxy's Prayer, which is the Overlord gear set. and it's weapon damage, damage to target out of cover, and critical hit damage. They've recently been nerfed, but they are still best in slot. So get yourselves over to the targeted farms for these. So today, where are we? So unfortunately, Coney Island, for them ones, not the greatest. Mission farming's not the great. And yeah, there you go as well, DCD. So mission farming's not great. Do check out one of my other videos, guys. I've talked about best ways to farm that are not the Warhound, because we know the Warhound's going to go away. And if you want to get your targeted loot quick and fast, do check out that video. I'll put it in the description below. And then we're going to move on to our holster, and that is the Seska holster, because I needed the extra critical hit chance. So we've got a 15, 11 and then a critical hit chance mod on it. And then for most guns, you will see I'm pretty much crit chance cap. But then if we switch over to my Eagle Bearer as well, we're pretty much there as well. So the critical hit damage isn't as high as I would like it to be. You can essentially put pieces together differently and get more critical hit damage. But the damage from having these two pieces in is just too good. We just can't give them up. I've tried a bunch of different variations. So for instance, you could put a Fenris mask in, and then I could swap that to a really good Providence piece and still keep my critical hit chance up. And because you can swap any of these three around and essentially try and build in the 10% extra damage from the Fenris gear set, because the brand set bonus for that is 10% assault rifle damage. But no matter which way around I switch these out to try and squeeze a Fenris in, I always end up having to lose one of these, and it is too much damage to lose. So for instance, I could go in here, I could put these really good knee pads on, which would give me 10% assault rifle damage. Really good. But I'll show you in the shooting range. We'll come to these conclusions together. But unfortunately, this is going to lose out. Just to go back to what I mentioned before. So because we don't need to run the spotter skill because we're getting the attachment, we're going to run the shield with this. But because we get the +1 skill tier from the specialization, it actually gives us 10% active regeneration, 40% extra shield health, and 5% extra holstered regeneration, which gives us almost 2 million health just on the shield alone, with some decent regeneration time and some decent cooldown. And considering we are not spec'd into skills whatsoever apart from the specialization, this makes it really good. If you want to look at what mods I was using, I'll be using 4.6 active regeneration, 4.6% shield health, and 4.8 holstered regeneration. And then we're going to run the Reviver Hive as our next skill, because really this is about surviving a bit more, not having to worry about taking the glass cannon damage. This one's all about just being able to survive a bit more. And I like the angle that you get when you put the gun on top of the shield, that third person effect that we used to get with the M1As. Obviously we still get that with the assault rifles, so super nice. So we'll go over to the range. We're going to be on heroic, because that's all the kind of content we need to get to. Pay attention, guys, to the damage numbers in the bottom left, because these numbers sometimes lie. So we'll use my MK16 for this. So crit at 49 and 19 for a non-crit. So then what we're going to do is switch out over here, and we're going to put the Fox's Prayer back on. And you can see just a bit more damage there. So we're at 20 for a non-crit and 52 for a crit, which means even though these have rifle damage here, this damage to target out of cover is just giving us just too much damage, and they are best in slot even over a really good rolled Fenris piece. So essentially can't squeeze a Fenris piece in anywhere that would then provide, that then wouldn't make me start losing crit chance. If we start losing crit chance, we start losing crit damage, so it's just not worth it. So although it would feel nice, and you would think the game would want us to put the Fenris piece in with the relevant weapon that we're using, this is where we are. So this is the best variation that I think. It's really good. So you're just going to have your shield out and you're going to headshot away. This gun's really accurate as well. And you see some nice numbers there, and especially for the headshots, some 79s and as the crits and some 44s as the regular hits. I'll swap over to the Eagle Bearer and then you can have a look at that if you're lucky enough to have one. Pretty stable, and it gets more and more stable the more you shoot it. So really nice to have as a secondary weapon. If you don't have an Eagle Bearer and you do need one, we run raid help every day over on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/DJTICKLE. So do come and check us out. But with this build as well, because we're not tied down to Fenris, you can also flick to the good old trusty M1A if you've got a good one of them as well. But we're not going to spend too much time looking at M1As because this build video is about assault rifles. So some other options that you have is an ACR if you've got a good rolled one of these. Don't pay too much attention at this point now to the attributes and the talents, because ideally, like this one, I would like damage to armor always to be in the 3rd attribute, and I would essentially love Optimist to be my talent. I think they're the best 2 combinations right now, but it just depends on how lucky you get drops. We'll put some mods in this to make it the same so that you can see damage from it though. But what we're looking at essentially is how good the grouping is with this gun. How much of a laser is it? And this gun is a nice bit of a laser. And there's some good damage numbers from that as well. From using measured. Measured's no slouch. What I would do is probably keep measured on this gun and change the 3rd attribute's damage to armor. We're also going to look at the burnout. I would change the 3rd attribute again, but perfectly on empty. Reloading from empty grants 40% weapon handling, so you would think this is going to be an absolute laser beam. Let's see. It's already a laser beam actually. Ooh. And not much different, so that talent seems like an absolute waste. But it's a FAMAS, guys. FAMAS is a great weapon. I know I didn't put the mods in, but we're not going to spend too much time on that because it is not very good. Got a really nice rolled Honey Badger here, damage to armor and Optimist. One of the newer weapons to the game, and again, very laser beaming, really good for headshots. It has a little bit more bounce around it than the MK16, but let's compare the two. It's got less damage, but it does fire a bit quicker. So depending on play style, either or of these are going to put out very similar damage. The good old 416, which unfortunately now has lost its best in slot that it once was. Yes, and it's got a bit more spread on it nowadays. So not as good. Let's not bother too much wasting some time on that. And as you can see, it just loses out. It's just the spread, you know, although it's got less damage, but it's a little bit faster, but it's just not what it used to be. You know, the grouping was much better on the new Honey Badger. Police M4, if you're looking to get one, I don't even need to mod it up to show you how good that gun is. Really fast, really good groupings as well, especially when modded up. So if you've got a really good Police M4, I would go for that as an option as well. But they're all the guns that I'm interested in. Mark 16 for me is the clear winner. But you know, Police M4, ACR, definitely close as well. Maybe even the Honey Badger. So to take your own preference, I do run with my Eagle Bearer as the second one because it's really well rolled. And the Eagle Strike and Tenacity talents are really good, because I've got a shield, I can afford to get headshots, and therefore at some point during the battles I'm not taking any damage as long as I'm getting kills. But like I said, if you do need an Eagle Bearer, do come out over and say hi over on Twitch, or drop a comment down below, or come and see us in the Discord. The link is in the description. Just to show you my stat page with these guns on, so you get an idea of what kind of stats we're looking at. So the weapon damage on the SOCOM Mark 16 is at 112k, 61k on PvP damage if that's your kind of thing, 57.4% crit hit chance. Remember guys, the cap on this is 60%. My watch is over 1,000, so I've got the maximum chance coming from that as well. I've also got the maximum damage coming from that, which are at 151.9, 94% headshot damage, which is pretty nice as well. But the two that are currently making every build right now, we've got 14% damage to armor and we've got 17% damage to health. So that's my preferred setup, guys. That's what I like. Let me know what you think. If you've done an AR build a little bit different, if you think I'm wrong about the best in slot pieces for knees and gloves, do let me know down below in the comment section. Subscribe for more content. I'm trying to upload as many videos as I possibly can. Tips, tricks, build videos, anything Division related will be coming as quick as possible to this channel. So do make sure you subscribe. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs down. Let me know what you think. Obviously, you have the option of changing this around a little bit. You could just run glass cannon and you could run sharpshooter for that extra stability as well. But I wanted to do a build that didn't really revolve around glass cannon and didn't, you know, strayed away from the norm a little bit. You could just do this. You could just put sharpshooter on and go with that. And that would be a lot of damage as well. But glass cannon's not everybody's cup of tea. You know, taking that incoming damage, it's a lot of incoming damage. So we went with spotter with this build. Let me know what you think, guys, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.
You're coming up on Dragov's outer perimeter. Remember, we're only here for Dragov. But if you find the supply depot, raid it. Denying Dragov that stockpile will also deny Keener crucial support.
Be careful. I still don't like the idea of throwing little roofs, no matter how much we want Dragov first role in the city over.
Intercepted. I hear gunfire. Report.
Loading area by Broad Street is under attack. It's the division.
Cell the gate. Use the APC. Do not let them raid.